welcome back. Well, today I have Dr. Frank Munoz here on behalf of the City of Hope. Well, welcome. Very nice to meet you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. Happy to be here.
Now, when I was looking at your title, Chaplain Scientist, and I was thinking, you know, what a great conversation starter, because it encompasses so much. So tell me what you have done to get you to this point.
Great. Thank you so much. So I've done a lot of research in mind-body medicine, where I've looked at just the realm of spirituality and how that affects the way our body functions. So mind-body medicine, we focus on the connection between our mental and emotional well-being and our body functioning. And in addition to that, I've added another layer of genetics or genomics.
Okay.
Since our genes are kind of like our managers and directors of our body work, so our brains are like the CEO, and our body's just the organization.
Right.
So an important aspect of our emotional well-being is just spirituality.
Okay.
And I've already met with some patients over at the City of Hope. We just opened our mind-body medicine clinic recently.
Fantastic.
And they share with me how important the religious and spiritual dimension in their life is. So they bring the whole package. They bring everything they have to cope with their cancer diagnosis.
Right. Right. Now, were you a chaplain before?
Yes, I started out actually as a military chaplain.
Okay.
And that's where I was introduced to this whole area of bringing a calming presence for trauma patients. So the military has training for their chaplains where they learn how to work with the medical teams in preparation for battlefield.
Okay.
So I trained in a trauma center in San Antonio, Texas, and they had an arrangement where they would serve the local citizens. They receive free trauma care, and in return, the military would train their medical teams for combat. And so I had a spot, all the chaplains involved in the training, we had a spot right there at the surgical table, right next to the surgeon.
Wow.
So we were there providing a calming effect for the patient and also for the surgeons and for the medical staff treating them.
Right.
So that laid the foundation for me, and just one thing led to another. And I worked in a pediatric setting, an adult setting, and I wanted to learn more. So I could see, we did have this effect, a calming effect on patients and staff, but I really wanted to learn more. What's happening biologically? What's happening physically? So I could see externally things happening, but I want to learn more about what's happening internally.
Okay.
So I did apply and received 2 and 3, eventually, National Cancer Institute training awards. And so there is where I learned about genomics. I received a PhD in mind-body medicine, and that just opened up a whole new frontier.
Well, I bet. And we were talking a little bit off camera about how it seems like it's taking so long for the medical industry to kind of come along and say, all right, we now need to do alternative medicine. We need to do something a little different. So I'm really happy that you are here applying all of the things that you've learned. And not everybody is spiritual until something happens. And here, of course, people are faced with a horrible situation, yet you're there to help guide them and let them know that it's okay.
Definitely. In clinical chaplaincy, we define spirituality as more of a person's search for meaning, purpose, and hope. And that can take many forms. It could take the form of traditional, historic, religious traditions, or it could be very personalized, based on the individual. It could be based on philosophy, it can be based on art, literature. There's a deep sense of spirituality, even if you look at, like for me, art. When you read about the lives of artists, there's a dimension there that to me kind of resonates with more traditional, religious tradition. So as clinical chaplains, we're trained to move beyond religious tradition and look at the person individually and learn about them and see what brings them purpose, meaning, and hope.
Right.
So what we do is we support that.
And you support that as well as offering some types of treatments. So tell me a little bit about the treatments that you encourage them to try.
So in mind-body medicine, we focus on meditation, variety of techniques which triggers the relaxation response. So as you know, we have a parasympathetic nervous system and a sympathetic nervous system. So the sympathetic nervous system is our fight or flight response. So when we perceive danger, especially something like a cancer diagnosis, that triggers our fight or flight response.
Okay.
So that's where the anxiety and the stress arise. But we also have inner healing resources, which lay within our parasympathetic nervous system. And that's where it brings a balance. So when our fight or flight response is triggered, our blood pressure goes up, our blood recirculates to our large muscle groups. With the parasympathetic nervous system, then we relax and our blood begins to recirculate normally, our breathing becomes normal. And so all the techniques are designed to trigger the parasympathetic nervous system.
Okay.
And the common denominator is our breath, our breathing.
Sure.
So if we remember, what's the first thing we did when we were born?
Yep, your first breath. That's a really good point. So breathing is important, meditation is important. Do you have other things that you're incorporating in? I mean, meditation doesn't just necessarily have to be sitting there and listening to your breathing. You can incorporate sense of smell, touch, things like that.
So we have guided imagery techniques. We're bringing on board people who can teach yoga.
Great.
Acupuncture.
Fantastic.
Self-hypnosis. There's meditative movement, where there's gentle movements for those people who are having trouble with mobility.
Okay.
There's already adaptations of Tai Chi and Qigong, where people can utilize them so that they can have some form of exercise and move their bodies. And we have a lot of former athletes that like to do things of that sort. They don't like sitting down and doing meditation techniques.
It's hard to keep people sitting at times, right? Especially when you're going through certain things. I mean, of course, they may have to sit for a period of time for any type of oncology work or things like that. But I like the fact that you have these offerings, right? Because it kind of sets you apart from other cancer institutes, because they may not have this kind of technology or knowledge.
Yes, I believe we are innovative, and we are developing a very formal and intentional program that will offer this array of services for patients. And having met patients already, they are really excited. And they've been waited, as you mentioned earlier, for the medical establishment to come around.
Yeah.
Because they're already searching and they're already reaching out to different places.
Exactly.
And here in Dr. Richard Lee's program, we'll offer evidence-based and patient-safe techniques.
Okay.
So they can incorporate them with their regular medical care.
And you do this on the campus, right?
We can do it on the campus, and we can do it remotely as well.
Oh, good.
Just based on the wishes of the patient.
Oh. Well, that is fantastic news. We appreciate the information. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
If you want more information about anything that we have discussed, you can always go to the website, cityofhope.org/OC, or you could give them a call at 888-333-HOPE, which is 4673. We'll be right back.